natural
Yes. It's lovely.
sugar substitute.
Yeah, stevia is wonderful because it's coming from a plant, so it's all natural. The body knows how to recognize it, and there's 0 calories in stevia. The big thing with stevia is you can't add a teaspoon of stevia where you would a teaspoon of sugar because it's so concentrated. Usually it's about 1/8 of a teaspoon would give you exactly what you need. The other thing about stevia that some people find is that there's an aftertaste that they don't quite like. And that's just something that you may have to get used to, or you just choose something else. So another alternative would be xylitol. Xylitol is another all-natural sugar. Yeah.
Where do you get that?
You can get it from the grocery store. I know in Zehrs they have a health food section in the middle. They might have it in their baking section. If you don't find
They
it
did
there,
have it, I don't know where it is now that they've remodeled it, but I did see it before they remodeled the store, I did see it.
I would be very surprised if they didn't have stevia or xylitol, one or the other. Otherwise, you can go to Goodness Me or any of those health food stores in Hamilton. They would carry it for
I
sure.
have to write down the name after you.
Absolutely, I'll remind you.
Okay.
So one of the things that I really wanted to show you, and this is why I was so thrilled to be invited to this group, is this series of pictures of how the obesity epidemic has been going on in the States. So as you may or may not know, our main way for measuring, well, one of the ways that we measure weight is by the BMI. So it's your height versus your weight. And for the most part, we just go up to normal, overweight, and obese. Those are our main parameters. And as I said, we're doing it by looking at your height versus your weight, and then we come up with a number based on that scale. Again, it's not perfect. So if I were to have an Olympic athlete who's, 200 pounds, and then compare it to someone who's overweight, they might actually be in the same place. Again, body composition matters. Your muscle mass matters. It's not just the weight on the scale. It's not just your height that will determine how healthy you are. It's also how you feel and how your body looks. So this is a presentation that I wanted to show. Every single color, from the darker it is, the more populated that state is of people that are considered overweight or obese. And this is back in 1985, and we're just going to go through it really quickly, and I'm going to show you what it looks like all the way up until 2010. And this is one of the reasons why I was just so thrilled to hear that there's a group like this, and after meeting the ladies in Hagersville, it's just so supportive, and I think it's wonderful that you're running it. And so we're back in 2006, 2007, 2010. That's the latest that they've done. And you can see almost over 30% of the population in those dark red places are overweight or obese. And if I were to show you other research, it would show that those are the places that have the least amount of physical activity as well. So if you move, it does help. I'm sure everyone in this room is more than informed on how exercise can impact your lifestyle. So because of this, now we're reaching into morbid obesity and supermorbid obesity. They've had to extend that BMI scale. So again, it's wonderful that you guys are here and supporting each other to prevent that from happening, and hopefully we can extend this to the rest of the community. At least that's one of my goals. So how can we change our outcome? Coming to talks like this is wonderful, and again, thank you very much for inviting me. But becoming educated on your own is very important. So, Dr. Oz is a huge guru for healthy living and that sort of thing. But I will caution you that when you're watching TV shows like that, they're publicizing it to the masses. And again, always remember that your body is going to be different than everybody else's body. So you may or may not react the way that the magazines tell you or that the TV tells you, but they're always good information to know anyway.
On that,
Yeah.
in People magazine,
Yes.
Dr. Oz, they had a little thing with Dr. Oz, and he had a 2-day cleanse. And I've been reading things that say that the cleanses are good, some say the cleanses are bad.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on cleanses?
I love my patients to do a spring and fall cleaning of their body in a detox, is the word that I use. So just like you do your house spring and fall, I really like my patients to do it spring and fall, and so do I. I rarely, if ever, recommend the fasting cleanses, and that's where you get the 1-day, 2-day cleanses. I usually like to recommend a minimum of 10 days, simply because it takes a while for your body to not only get used to what it is that you're doing, trying to flush those toxins out, and then it becomes very good at it, and then by the time you're done, you should be good to go and you can carry on, hopefully learning a little bit about how to eat a little bit better and continue on with that process. But let's face it, we're living in a world where it's not clean, and I think I heard somewhere that by the time you wake up to the time you leave your door in the morning, you've already been exposed to 200 toxins. There's nothing we can do about it. But by doing those cleanses and doing those detoxes and making sure that you're doing them correctly and with medical advice along with it, so my patients will have me sort of at the beginning and at the end, and if they have any questions in between, it really helps to keep your body kind of working efficiently, much like you would do an oil change or something like that on your car to keep it from being all bunged up. We want to do that to our bodies too. And I'll tell you, my patients that have done it, they usually drop anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds. Some of it's literally crap that's been stuck inside their bodies that they're finally getting flushed out, or it's a lot of water weight. And we tend to carry a lot of water weight just because some of the things that we're eating are just causing inflammation in the body or stress that we're having. I don't know what it is, but there's usually a dramatic shift somewhere, whether it be fluid or in weight in general.
Is that a total detox you're talking about, or just a liver, or you've all different ones?
I do a total detox. I don't really focus on one organ over the other because they're all important to cleanse. So my detox is very focused on high-dose nutrients that will help remove heavy metals and hormones and toxins, as well as supporting the natural detox process of the liver. So the liver is the big one. Which one would I recommend? I carry a product line called Metagenics. It's a professional line, so you can't find it at health food stores. But there are other detoxes in a box that I've used, such as the Renew Life. It's a 30-day cleanse, or the Wild Rose Detox, which is a 10-day. I've used both of those and love them. What I will say is with the detoxes in a box, they tend to put a lot of laxative herbs in them because they want people to feel like they're doing something or that something's moving, and that can be a bit overwhelming for some people. So just watch that. Usually they just say make sure that the laxatives aren't causing you to run to the bathroom every 5 minutes. And I've been there with those detoxes, so I know what that's like. And usually it's just for the first couple days. Yeah. So fitday.com is one of my favorite websites. It's totally free. You can go online, and what it is essentially a food diary. So I don't know if you're tracking your food or writing it down in a journal, but one of the things to make yourself really accountable to what you're eating is by forcing yourself to write it down. So sometimes it prevents you from having that extra piece of cake or that one extra beer, if that's what you're going to have, because you have to write it down. So the fitday.com is really nice because what it allows you to do is you'll write down everything that you had, and it already plots it on a graph. So it'll show how much is carbohydrate, how much of it was fat, how much of it was protein, so you can see how you're doing with regards to getting your portions in. What I'd like to really see is your amount of carbohydrates being significantly smaller, your protein to be the predominant one. So if we were to split that, half protein, 40% carbohydrates, and 10% fat would be ideal for me. And so what I'll get my patients to do is sort of map their dinner plate sort of in their head and say, okay, am I having half a plate of protein, almost half a plate of vegetables, which would be your carbohydrates, and a little bit of fat. And that fat could be olive oil as your dressing or something like that, or healthy butter on the vegetables. So again, going back to the food pyramid, it's really not my favorite. I prefer to see something like this. And I don't know if you've heard of the Paleolithic diet. What the paleo diet is prescribing is sort of a caveman diet. Before grains and legumes were available, these were what the cavemen eat. I'm not that extreme, but what I do like is that for the most part, we're having lots of healthy fats, lots of healthy meats, and lots of non-starchy vegetables. So these are all the vegetables that grow above the ground. So keeping potatoes and turnips and carrots at a minimum, really focusing on the dark leafy greens, on anything that grows above the ground. That's where the nutrition is. And then, of course, adding nuts and seeds. A lot of people don't consume enough nuts and seeds, and those are really healthy snacks. You have a lot of healthy fiber in them, a bit of healthy fat in there, and it's a better alternative than to munching on, an ice cream or a bag of chips or something like that. And what I will say is that science has actually shown 25 almonds or walnuts a day has been statistically proven to lower cholesterol levels. And I sometimes wonder if maybe the results for that were because instead of choosing what they normally would have chosen, they were choosing nuts and seeds as a snack. Could be. Whatever it takes to get you there, you might as well do it. And that's coming at a very minimal price. And they're something I usually keep in the console of my car and just pop them as I'm driving, just so I don't get hungry. The other big thing I always like to tell people is just to eat in every color. So if you were to eat 4 cups of salad every day, it wouldn't be nearly as good for you as if you were to make sure that you had a bit of green, a bit of red, a bit of blue, a bit of orange, a bit of yellow throughout your day. Because each one of those colors provides your body with antioxidants. Antioxidants keeps us looking young. It prevents our body from degrading. It keeps our vitality up and our energy up. The greens provide you with a lot of the minerals that you need just to get by. And then the whites, of course, if you'd like to have dairy or something like that, then that's okay. As long as it doesn't affect you.
Blue.
What would be blue?
Blueberries. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Blackberries.
Right.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah. So that's another thing that you can always keep in mind. And I find a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this too, we're eating a lot of beige. We're having a lot of browns and whites and that sort of thing. So liven up your plate. And I don't know if you've ever noticed with a buffet, when you see all that color, it makes you excited to eat the food. And that's what we should be doing on a daily basis. So an easy way for my patients to do that is I have them make a smoothie in the morning. Get some frozen berries, add a scoop of protein powder. If you'd like to add yogurt to make it a bit thicker, you can, or almond milk or water, and just try to make it as nutritious as you can. It's a great start to the day, because as we know, we should never be skipping breakfast. And if we get a good start to the day, generally we feel pretty good throughout the rest of the day. And then again, I have down here at the bottom is sort of that choose my plate. So again, breaking your plate up to make sure that you're getting the right portions and that sort of thing. And it's a bit of an art. So again, just sort of full circle, eat as many dark leafy greens as you possibly can. Try to eat nuts and seeds as a snack. When it comes to protein, ideally I'd love you to have organic protein. There are a number of farmers in this area that will serve you, or not serve you, but will sell you meat that they've grown. And you can see how the animals have been raised. They're all out grazing, they look healthy. Those would be the places I would go if you can't afford organic. The reason why we want organic or grain-fed is because it avoids a lot of those hormones again. And those hormones can really wreak havoc on our system. And especially with a lot of men, we're seeing a lot of men develop a lot of weight around the hip area and female-like breasts, and a lot of that are the estrogens that we're consuming in meats and from water for all the women that are on birth control pills and all that sort of thing. So it is very important, and again, a detox will help to minimize those side effects. And then fiber, as I said, and always remember that every mouthful counts. So even when we're taking our supplements, remembering that we want to try to get supplements at the right dosage, in the right form, in a way that's going to benefit our bodies without hurting our wallets. Food is definitely the first place to go, but unfortunately, because the soil is so depleted in nutrients, and I think they did a study in the States and found that up to 6 inches, there was nothing there that was of any quality to provide fruits and vegetables with the adequate nutrition. And guess how long it takes to regrow 1 inch of plentiful soil? Just throw out a few years. 100 years higher. You're looking at 1,000 years.
Oh, wow.
So if soil is depleted up to 6 inches, I don't know if you're going to be around, but I'm not going to be around for 6,000 years to see what that's like. And that's only if we stop ruining the soil that we have right now. So it is very difficult to get everything that you need from those fruits and vegetables and those plants growing from the soil. Organic farmers are doing it, but again, the organic soil that they're getting from sometimes comes from manure of animals that have been treated with hormones. So again, even there, we're having some difficulties. So unfortunately, supplementation is something that everybody needs to be on, but let's make sure it's the right one for you, at the right dosage, and at the right time.